Oklahoma City. You're watching Cox Communications, Channel 3 in Oklahoma City, Channel 9 in Tulsa. And now a special Cox Sports presentation, the 5A High School Soccer Championships.
Welcome to Oklahoma City. Tonight, the site for the 5A State Soccer Championships. On the ladies' side, it'll be the Jenks Lady Trojans taking on the Norman Tigers, and we are definitely in for a great matchup. Chris Plank joined on the pitch by the coach Brian Harvey. A sweet showdown between two very solid teams within the state of Oklahoma, and two teams that have had some pretty daunting roads to get here. For Jenks, maybe a little bit more difficult. They haven't had the high-scoring approach that Norman has had, but I know you think this, Coach. Jenks has definitely had a much tougher road to get here than the Norman Tigers have had.
Yes, you're quite correct, Chris. I think the Jenks team definitely had a more difficult road playing the number 2 and the number 3 seed, Norman being the number 4 seed. So if they can beat Norman tonight, then truly they are the champions.
Yeah, no question about it. 11 goals in 2 games for Norman. Their offense is obviously clicking, something that's going to make it difficult for Mike Carney if his team is indeed to win 4 straight state championships.
Well, no one's won 4 straight because it's a very, very difficult feat to accomplish, really in any sport, especially in soccer. You know, in my 18 years in high school soccer, I've seen great teams fall on that 4th time just because of maybe overconfidence or maybe thinking they just had it in the bag, so on and so forth. But, you know, our girls are ready to try to accomplish that tonight, but we know we're going up against a very strong Norman team and that they're going to be doubly ready based on what's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, and for Coach Carney, he has a superstar in Lauren McIver, someone they definitely want to get going tonight, Coach.
Yeah, I think that she's going to be the girl that Norman are going to have to watch this evening. I think the big matchup there will be Jordan Gibbs will match up on McIver.
And for Coach Byers and the Norman Tigers, they want to start a new run here tonight at Putnam City.
We're ready to win a state championship, and the last time was 1997, and we had won 3 in a row. I know that Jenks has had 3 in a row, so the girls are fired up. They feel like it's time to stop that and start a Norman run now. So,
no team has won 4 straight state championships in soccer. Jenks will try to become the first team to do it tonight. All the play-by-play is coming up next at the 5A State Girls Championship right here on Cox Communications.
You're watching High School Sports on
Welcome back to Putnam City High School Stadium here in Oklahoma City. Chris Plank, along with OCU head soccer coach Brian Harvey. Of course, the entire Cox crew on hand tonight. The first of a doubleheader, the 5A State Girls Championship. And Coach Jenks looking for a 4-peat, and it's a tough task, especially whenever you have the talent on both sides of the field. So let's not waste any more time. Let's see what happens here. The Trojans in the maroon The Tigers in the orange, and we are ready to go. And what are some things, Coach, that we might want to keep an eye on here early in this game?
Well, I think we've got to look for the matchup between Lauren McIver and Jordan Gibbs. That would be the first thing that we look, and looks immediately.
Take a quick look at the starting lineup as we have a throw-in on the far side. The ball will belong to the Norman Tigers. First for the Lady Trojans for Jenks, 3 straight state titles, 14-1 on the season. Currently ranked #1 in the state, and obviously Ginny Nichols has had an outstanding season, Coach, .47 goals against per game. But Esther Grinnell has been outstanding, and of course the key to this squad is Lauren McIver.
Oh, very much so, and I think that if she can find the net tonight, it's going to be a difficult night for Norman.
Far side of the field, ball still out of bounds, so both teams looking to try to establish some sort of momentum. The starting lineup for the 15-2 Norman High School Lady Tigers, head coach Bob Byers, who has done an outstanding job. You get a good look. If a couple of those names look familiar, there's a good reason. Jordan Gibbs, of course, the daughter of former Oklahoma coach Gary Gibbs, who is on hand tonight. But one of their better players is Elizabeth Ramey. She's a junior who scored 24 goals so far, and she comes from a pretty good bloodline, too, doesn't she?
She comes from a very good bloodline. Her sister, Anne, and her other sister, Catherine, both went on to play college ball at Duke and North Carolina, respectively.
The physical play on the far side of the field, throwing for Gallagher, and notice Angela has on some odd-looking shoes. The orange suits of the Lady Tigers, and then for Jenks, one of their players wearing orange shoes right now. Here's a look at the keys, Coach, and maybe you can elaborate on some of these that are going to be important if the Trojans are to win the game tonight. Heck, this seems like this could be the keys for both teams here tonight if they're going to win this game.
Well, I think you're right. I think that both teams are capable of scoring goals, so they're going to have to look after defense first and foremost. And then, as we said here, we need to go. I mean, they need to attack, and it'll be interesting to see who scores the first goal. And I think in a final like this, you've got to just maintain basically your calmness and presence of mind and get yourself playing into the game.
Garcia's pass was intended for Allison Vaughn on the far side, and they're not able to make the connection. So far, a couple more things to look at. This is for Norman right here, obviously the first one we talked about earlier. But when they say control the center field, Coach, what's the best way to do that? How do you control the central midfield?
Well, you've got to try to get numbers into the midfield and maintain a possession-type game. And Norman have the quality players enough to keep the ball and maintain the flow of attack through the midfield.
Right now, both teams just looking to establish any presence whatsoever. Kind of a slow start here to the 5A State Girls Championship. And Morikawa worked it through the middle of the field, and she had it taken away, but she'll dump it back in. Nearly off sides, but it will go for the throw-in once again for the Jenks Trojans, and apparently Lauren Caldwell will take care of that. Still very early on here at Putnam City. Glad to have you on board, Chris Blank, along with the coach Brian Harvey, our director tonight, of course Mike Bruce, and producer Randy Carson, bringing you all the pretty pictures, the entire Cox crew who's here on hand tonight, and hopefully we'll get to see this get going here quickly as Norman tries to break, but they can't get anything going. Once again, both teams seem to be sagging a little bit early, Coach, to keep the defense hot.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to give away that first goal, and there's a lot of caution in the game at the moment. Girls are feeling their nerves a little bit, but I think overall Norman have maintained a little bit better possession, and they seem to be taking the game to Jenks.
And the one thing that you do realize is we are in the midst of a state championship game, and even though Jenks has won 3 straight, there's still nerves that have to be dealt with in a situation like this.
Yeah, I think we tend to forget that, these are high school kids, and, they're quite nervous, and there's a lot of younger players out there, but Norman seems to be establishing a passing game here.
And they get it up ahead to Ramey. Ramey, though, with a good battle going on right now, they're going to call a foul. And apparently it looks like they're going to get that one on Lauren Caldwell. Oh, no, Jack, they're going to call Ramey on the foul. So early break for Jenks that's about the last player you want to see get going early for the Norman Tigers, and good defense by Caldwell. Now a break for the Jenks Trojans. Back the other way, left-footed shot is over the goal by Esther Grinnell, and a goal kick for the Lady Tigers. Early on in the game, no score. There's a good look at the goalkeeper for the Norman Tigers is Megan Griffin, a senior. 10 shutouts this year, Coach. You like her, don't you?
Yes, I do, actually. I like her that much that I've signed her for the university. Yeah, so she's a good one.
10 shutouts so far on the season for Griffin. She's the senior. They have a pretty good backup, too, in the sophomore. But right now, the key is just to keep Jenks from getting on the board first. And you can imagine how important the first goal is. There's a nice pass to start the break by Ramey, understanding, or at least to try to start it. And once again, there's a good look at the shoes that are currently being worn by Gallagher. And back the other way, comes the Norman Tigers. But in the midfield area, MacIver is there to stop the break, and she'll work it out on the far side. There goes MacIver, one-on-one with a nice move. She breaks away from Sims. Looks like it might be too far out in front of her. Gets the cross, but once again, the goal kick for Norman. Anything in particular strategically you're seeing here, Coach?
No, both teams are playing with the same system. They're playing with a sweeper and 2 marking backs and 5 in the midfield, so, and a stopper. So it's nothing unusual in the systems of play that they're using. We just saw a quick example there of the speed of MacIver, although the ball did get away from her, but she went by 2 defenders very easily. Yeah, an outstanding player, and Coach Carney will make no bones about it. She is the backbone for this team. Norman now trying to clear the zone. There's a nice play made by Savannah Scott, but she couldn't clear it out. Now she does. And Norman will look to get the break going. Trying to cut it back towards the midfield area, but right there is Jenks and Esther Grinnell to take it away. Offside's not going to be called because Jenks was able to get back onside, and now they'll try to set up their offense. Cross to the middle of the field, no one home, but picked up by Brady, and she can't control it right now. Both teams are playing at a very physical pace right now, a pretty quick pace, but a cautious pace as well, too. I think you're right. I think that technically they're playing a little bit too quick for their own ability at the moment. But obviously there's a lot of adrenaline out there, and they need to just slow down a little bit and take an extra touch on the ball. Got a good look there at Mike Carney. He, of course, has led his Lady Trojans to a 14-1 record so far this season. They've been outstanding. They have a tough task here tonight in the Tigers. Norman trying to get it going back the other way. Pass just out of the reach of Shelly Sims, so Jenks will work it back the other way. Both teams early on just trying to get a feel for each other. No score early on, and on a field on a night whenever the wind is pretty solid from east to west across the field. Here's a offside that's going to be called. It looked for a second that Brady might get a chance for our first really good scoring opportunity of the evening. She was offsides. Actually, she scooped the ball very well, but the linesman was in good position. Let's look at it again, Coach. What'd you like about this? Oh, she hits it very well with her right foot, but you can see that she is in an offside position. She's coming back there from the ball. Ball comes onto her, but she hits it first time very nicely out of the air, and it was a good strike. Morgan McCord made a nice play, too. Can't overlook that to actually get her the ball. Very much so. Here's Norman coming back the other way. Savannah Scott works it up. Norman might have some numbers here if they hurry. Taken away, though, by Jenks. Boy, Norman looked to have a nice run going there, but it was taken away. Now Lauren Harris, tried to work it down the near side. Too far for McCord. A throw-in for the Tigers. Caitlin Cox, the sophomore, tosses it down, and they're still trying to get the ball as much as they can to Ramey, and who can blame them? Ramey working 1-on-2, and she'll lose that one, but it will stay with Norman. When you had a star player like Norman has in Ramey, Coach, was there anything in particular you could do to try to get him going early? Well, I mean, she's a go-to player. You've got to get the ball to her, and, you know, obviously she's the one that's going to make things happen for them offensively tonight. But I think that both defenses are handling both offenses reasonably well at the moment. Cord will toss it in, and they'll lose that one out of bounds, and that'll give us our first break in the action. 31-37 still left in the first half. No score in the 5A state championships here on Cox Communications.
You're watching
where a field that's shared by every single school that starts with Putnam City. No score in the 5A state championship so far between the Jenks Lady Trojans and the Norman Tigers. Chris Plank along with Brian Harvey, the 16-year coach at Oklahoma City, and several stops along the way. And Coach, early on in this game, two teams that are really trying to get a feel for each other, yet we really haven't seen the action that seemed to come so easy for Norman in its first 2 games in the state tournament, I should say. Yeah, I think both teams playing cautiously, not really committing. Again, we spoke about it earlier, Chris. Neither team wanted to concede that first goal because it's very difficult. And we are talking about a state championship game. By now, you figure we're a little over 10 minutes in, and even though the players on the bench might be eagerly awaiting their chance, you figure by now some of those butterflies have worn off a little bit, and now you're just playing soccer. I think you're right. I think now they've settled down a little bit more. You can see somebody collecting the ball there and making a nice pass out. Becky Garcia doing a good job to clear it out. Now on the far side, Gallagher is going to work it down. They had a break for a second. Nice long run from MacIver. Can she save it before it goes out of bounds? No, nice diving stop by Megan Griffin. 10 shutouts on the season, and she was right there to cut off the pass because waiting all alone was Kaylin Brady. to put it in the back of the net, but a good play by the goalkeeper for Norman to keep this game scoreless. 0-0, 28 minutes still to go in the first half.
I think what we're seeing now, Chris, is Jenks have gone to 3 forwards. McIver's playing wide on the right, on the left.
Now Harris has moved up too.
Yes.
Right there, the ball kicked out of bounds by Gallagher. And we, as you maybe take a little bit more of an attacking approach now, too, for the Jenks Trojans. Quick look at the officials for tonight's game. And there you see Rezi Namavar, Brent Hall, and Jason Kreitzer. They're going to have their hands full all night this evening, but they'll keep play pretty solid. You know, and one thing I was noticing, too, Coach, is there's not a ton of room between what's actually the out-of-bounds lines and the track, but when we were talking, and a shot on goal, nice play made there. When we were talking before the game to Coach Byers, he feels like there's plenty of room. We were talking before the game to some of the Broken Arrow coaches for the men's team. They didn't feel like there was enough room between the out-of-bounds line and the track.
Well, you know, Chris, that's us coaches. You can't please us one way or the other.
But at least we'll get to see Broken Arrow battle Norman again next. A double dipper for Norman High School fans here tonight. The ladies in game 1, the men in game 2. Quick throw in there from Allison Vaughn, and maybe just a little bit too quick for the liking of one of the officials that we were just talking about. Throw in on the far side will be handled by Shelly Sims. Good look at Sims. She's a senior. One of the catalysts on this team. One of the leaders that they look to. Someone needs to get things going here for them early on, both teams. Neither have notched the board yet, and there's someone that might do it. Ramey tried to work it across the middle. Now Norman just taking his time to set up its attack, but Jenks marking up very well so far.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but there's going to be very little in it between it. The state final, both very good quality teams.
You're not going to see a lot of breakdowns, in other words.
No.
And if you do, it could cost you a state championship. A nice hustle of the ball by Grinnell to save it for Jenks. Now they'll work it back the other way. Caldwell had it taken away. Stolen. Here's a break. Working it downfield is Gibbs, and she had it taken away. Actually, that was Christy Schmiel that ended up making the play. Gibbs right now trying to mark McIver. Who knows, that'll be a great matchup to watch all night long. 16 in orange and 5 in maroon. That's Lauren McIver, who was on her way to Oklahoma, the 2001 State Player of the Year for the Jenks Trojans, and Jordan Gibbs, who not only is the daughter of Gary Gibbs, but also a pretty good soccer player, too.
She's a very good player. She really is a very brave player, very physical player, good aerial game. And she's been voted Defensive Player of the Year in this part of the state. So, yeah, it should be a very good matchup.
She was battling on the far side right there with Vaughn. Vaughn won it for the time being, but Norman controls for the moment. Still working it in their own end. There's a pass taken away by Jenks. Working it back the other way is Grinnell. Tries to work it in the middle of the field, and nothing there for Jessica Kellogg, a name we haven't called yet tonight. Kellogg is the senior forward, has 18 goals on the season, second leading scorer for this team this year. And, you know, you talk about the Lauren McIvers of the world and the Elizabeth Ramies. It might be someone like a Jessica Kellogg or even an Evan English who makes a big play here. Or maybe right now, breaking back the other way, Taryn Kaler, one-on-one, nice move. Oh, pushed away, no call there, and Jenks gets a break. What a break for the Lady Trojans. Physical defensive play made by Angela Gallagher. And no call. Kind of surprised no call there?
A little bit, yes. I think he could have called it there, actually. Goalkeeper very off in line, cut down the angle very well there.
Lauren McIver had the break, but as you mentioned, a nice play by Megan Griffin. Still scoreless. Very early on in this affair, the 5A State High School Girls Championship. Jenks is the 3-time state champions, looking to become 4-time. No team has ever accomplished that before. And right now, neither team has really had what I guess we could call a solid scoring opportunity. Norman just had the breakaway there that was called back on, or that wasn't called whenever they had to push, and Jenks had the offside play that actually went in the back of the net by Kaylin Brady, but neither team has been able to really sustain any solid flows of momentum so far in this game. And as you said, Coach, that's the product of two good teams facing each other.
Yeah, it's a product of two very good sides facing each other, and also, again, defenses will win you championships, and I think everybody's a little bit more worried about playing D than really getting at people at the moment.
Vaughn and Gatson were going at it on the near side, and once again we have a throw-in that'll go the way of the Trojans. Throw-in taken care of by McCord. She tried to work it towards the middle of the field. Now she has it back, but too much too much for her to control it.
Hurry back!
There's once again a name that we've called quite a bit, not just because of her shoes, but Gallagher doing a good job of trying to just create havoc for the Norman attackers. Now, once again, another play that kind of raises the ire of the fans, but it leads to a break for Ramey. Ramey is 1 on about 4. Now she gets some help from her teammates. Ramey battling on the far side with Caldwell. She turns the corner. Is she going to be able to make the cross? She will, but right there to knock it down is Allison Vaughn, and Vaughn will bring it out for the Jenks Trojans.
Actually, defensively, it was a very good play by Miss Vaughn there. She put nice cover on.
Throw in, we'll catch it when we come back. 23-20 to go in the first half. We're still scoreless in the 5A state championship.
You're watching.
Championship as the Jenks Trojans are battling Norman. Chris Plank along with Coach Brian Harvey from Oklahoma City University. Also the entire Cox crew on hand, Director Mike Bruce, producer Randy Carson doing an outstanding job so far this afternoon. And Coach, we've really seen kind of an ebb and flow where there really hasn't been too much ebbing or flowing either side. No real momentum gained in this game.
Both teams are still trying to feel each other out, and nobody really dominant at the moment.
There was a pass by Garcia that was blocked out of bounds, and so the ball will stay at least in the possession of the Jenks Trojans, and the throw-in will be taken by Morgan McCord. See a little bit of humidity starting to kick up here. Nice breeze blowing from east to west across the field. Pretty solid at times, but right now the weather really hasn't been any effect on this game.
No, it hasn't actually. We do have a bit of a wind coming from the east, and that is a little bit of an advantage to Jenks, but they haven't been able to make anything of it yet.
Grinnell tried to work it to the middle. Ball being bounced around and now finally controlled by Norman. They just can't seem to get a break. Now maybe this is what they needed, but Garcia is there to clear it back out, and Caldwell will chase it down the far side. 20:43 still left here in the first half. We are scoreless. Someone looking to strike blood first. Well, I guess we should say strike blood. Strike first blood whenever we're talking about high school soccer. I mean, we haven't seen too physical yet, and we are playing on an artificial surface so far, but basically we're looking for the first goal because in your mind, Coach, I know you feel that's going to be a huge momentum setter for the rest of this game.
Oh, very much so. I think the team that scores first has an excellent chance of going on and winning the game, and both teams are capable of scoring, and I think that's why we're seeing everybody being a little tentative and not wanting to really go all out on attack.
Trent will control the throw, and it looks like for Norman, and so far, just two teams trying to get any momentum as we reach the halfway point of the first half. That's Kitty Trent, the senior midfielder for the Norman Tigers. She's a senior, as we mentioned, and so far she's been very busy, as has Taryn Kaler, who tries to work it down the near side. And once again, Jenks has an answer as Caldwell clears it back towards the middle. Harris now works it up on the near side to Brady. Brady tried to cross, but a good defensive play made by Norman. Now they'll clear it out to the middle of the field, but right there to work it back in was Jenks. Jenks doing a good job now. It's like they've committed more players, Coach, to the offensive side of the ball, which might make for a good breakaway situation. There was a grab that was finally called. Caldwell caught with the arm on the back of Ramey. Would you say the play's getting a little bit chippy out there right now, or is it just trying to keep a player in check?
Well, I think that when anybody tackles Ramey, they really go in strong because I'm not saying there's any intentional, but they really want to let her know that she's in a game tonight.
And as we mentioned, she had 3 sisters that played college ball in front of her. She's obviously on her way, just a junior, 24 goals this year to go along with 19 assists. But she's watching right now as Lauren Harris tried to control on the far side. This is Lauren MacGyver with the ball right now. One of the best players maybe in the state of Oklahoma. Great pass in the middle of the field, but the defense right there for Norman to shut it off. This is Grinnell. Esther Grinnell works it on the far side. Harris breaks down there, down the far sideline, but nothing working as once again Megan Griffin is there to seal the deal, and she'll hold for a while and finally punt it away. Still scoreless, looking for our first goal of the game. Jenks and Norman in the 5A state championship on the ladies' side. Boys championship still to come. Nothing doing there for Jessica Kellogg, though saving it in the midfield was Harris. She'll try to work it into the Norman zone. Harris to MacGyver. MacGyver had it stripped away by by Sims for the moment, but now still controlled by Jenks. Cross to the middle, nothing there, and chasing it out of bounds to try to ensure the goal kicker actually now just protect her goal as they worked it out on the near side. As we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Coach, Not really that much of an effect on the game, but right now 65 degrees, an overcast evening here in the city, and some breezy winds, and as we just said, not really having an effect on the game so far.
No, not really. But I think what we're seeing at the moment, Chris, I think that Jenks have committed more people to go forward, and I think if you can see the pattern beginning to play now is that I think Norman are sitting back trying to hold them and looking to get Jenks on the break.
Because it also sets itself up for a nice offensive break like Norman has right here on the far side. They try to cross it, can't get it done. A nice solid offensive run that was actually set up in the middle of the field on a nice play by Ramey, but unable to control it and get any momentum going down the far side of the field was Shelly Sims. Nice little jump ball battle there. Kellogg went up for it. Controlled though by the Norman Tigers. Kitty Trent work it back. Trent to Gaston. Gaston out of the middle of the field, and he's taken away by the Trojans. Here comes Kellogg. Kellogg 1-on-5, and nothing working for the Trojans. Well, when it seems like they have a ton of people on the offensive side, then all of a sudden they don't.
Yes, and I think that a better decision there would have been to go out wide. I think they're beginning to play with a little bit of width, and hopefully with the width that they feel that they can commit, the Norman defense out a little bit and find some gaps to play the ball through.
You know, just out of curiosity, in your mind, do you think there's a team that has an advantage on the quickness side right now? Is Norman maybe quicker than Jenks?
Well, I think Ramey matches up very much. She's one of the quickest players out there, but also McIvers offers the counter-attack also.
And here comes Norman. They finally got one of those fouls that they've been looking for a while, but the pass too far for Savannah Scott. And obviously Jenks has a lot of faith in Becky Garcia because she's been the lone wolf back on defense sometimes. She works it out on the far side of Caldwell, who tries to get it up the field as Jenks tries to set something up and get offense going here. McIver has it right now, working one-on-one against Gibbs. To the middle to Harris. Harris lost it though, and back in the midfield area, controlled for the moment by Scott. Savannah Scott, one-on-one, nice move around Grinnell. Scott leading the break. She has numbers. On the near side, she has a wide-open player. If she can work it to Kaler, she can't. She'll just take it all the way in herself, and a nice play made by Ginny Nichols.
Actually, it was a very good run. We had three girls. She had girls on either side, and she chose to go it alone because the other girls were keeping their markers at them, so quite a good run, a good decision by her.
Can Jenks break the other way? No, the Norman defense is right there to throw out that attack. And with 15:20 to go in the first half, the ball will belong to the Jenks Trojans. Throwing will be controlled on the near side by Morgan McCord. Tough pass. No one went there for Grinnell, and we have a goal kick for the Norman Tigers. Well, a game that seemed kind of slow to start off with all of a sudden gets very exciting with a couple of quick breaks.
It is. If we get to be a little bit more lively, I think that people are committing forward a little bit more, but I think there's also that they're beginning to find some width to the game, and I think if we could just get either team playing to feet instead of trying to play far too ahead, there's some opportunities will be created.
Morcal with a tough pass to handle for Trent. She loses it, and once again, Jenks will have a throw-in their own end, and I think for the first time today, we're going to see a team go to the bench. Yes, indeed, the Jenks Trojans will substitute in Rachel Fouts, the senior midfielder, and with that, we'll take a timeout. We're scoreless, 14:26 left in the first half in the 5A state championship game between Jenks and Norman.
You're watching high school sports on Cox Communications Channel 3 Oklahoma City, Channel 9 Tulsa. Local like no one else.
Welcome back to Putnam City. Jenks on the attack right now in a scoreless first half between the Lady Tigers and the Lady Trojans. And Norman commits a lot of players to defense, and they're able to clear out the zone on a nice defensive play made by Savannah Scott. Can it lead to an offensive run like we just saw to the Norman Tigers? Chris Plank, that might have been a handball right there, joined by the coach, Brian Harvey, of course, producer Randy Carson, director Mike Bruce, doing an outstanding job with the entire Cox crew, bringing you all the pictures here tonight from Putnam City High Field, which is shared by both Putnam City High, Putnam City North, and Putnam City West, and the site for the 5A state playoff championships tonight in women's and men's soccer. Here's a shot on goal by Kellogg that was partially deflected, and a nice play made by Megan Griffin. And as we've been talking about all first half long, Coach, just a couple teams that are trying to find momentum. A little bit of a sloppy start. I don't think either coach would be happy with the way that either one of his teams played whenever they go to the locker room, but we're starting to see them kind of get a feel for each other. We're starting to see some really good soccer in the final 10 minutes here.
Oh, you're quite correct, Chris. I think the game's opened up and chances are going to be able to be made at the moment.
Here's a battle going on right now as Kaler, working against two Jenks defenders, unable to keep it in. Nice pass there by Savannah Scott. Unfortunately, no one home. We did have our first substitution of the game, and it was worked as Rachel Fouts checked in right before the break. And right now, Jenks trying to work it back in their own end. Brady works it back to Grinnell, who clears it up to McIver. Nice little touch pass to Fouts. And Jenks just now taking their time, trying to set up an attack. No numbers here. Great pass, although offsides is going to be the call. And indeed it is. McIver on a nice defensive play that was made there by Gina Gatson by just stepping up and realizing that McIver's got behind the defense.
Yeah, the Norman defense are playing very well, actually, although I felt that the referee made a very quick decision. It was a good call.
Did you say hi, Mr.
So you thinking McIver might have actually been on side at the start of that one? Close.
Close. I thought she was close.
Free kick. That's Grace Moore call. It'll boot it away for the Norman Lady Tigers. I keep saying Lady Tigers just because we have Lady Trojans, but it's not gender-based. They're just the Tigers. I apologize. At some point, it'll get straightened out as Fouts unable to really get anything going on her first chance for the Jenks Trojans. Throw in for Norman.
One thing that we are seeing now that they've committed 3 forwards. They've got 2, 7, and McIver wide on the left.
Thrown on the far side by Gibbs, and ball will remain with Norman as Ramey. They're really getting physical with Ramey right now. They're trying to frustrate her. And she will not take the kick. Instead, Gibbs will step up and boot it away for Norman to the middle of the field. Jenks defender falls down on the play, wide open at the moment for Scott. Scott dribbles through 2 defenders, has an open player in the middle, but a great sliding stop made by Jenny Nichols.
Yeah, it was a good play. Dribbling through the middle there, just couldn't get enough space to get her shot off. But still, again, that's 2 or 3 times now she's really tested the Jenks defense.
And I think Christy Schmiel was wide open if they were just able to get it over the outstretched arm of Jenny Nichols, the sophomore, who has been nothing short of outstanding during this run for the Jenks Trojans, and heck, throughout an entire 14-1 season. Throw in on the near side, taken by Caitlin Cox, and taken away by Kaylin Brady. Middle of the field now on the far side. This is Fouts. Fouts works it up to McIver. McIver working one-on-one against Samantha Williams. McIver waiting. Now she'll try to turn on the Jets. Did she wait too long? She did, but it should be a corner kick for the Trojans. No, goal kick for the Norman Tigers. Thought maybe McIver might get the call there, but a good defensive play made by Williams all the way down the far side of the field. And Lauren, of course, can't say enough. The 2001 State Player of the Year in Oklahoma, 52 career goals, and on her way to the University of Oklahoma. Now another substitution. Harris will check back in, and Fouts will stay in. Harris had been substituted for with Fouts. Now she checks back into the game. Kellogg working the far side for the Trojans. Nice cross to the middle. No one home on a nice defensive play made by Gibbs. Now here's a shot on goal that's just wide for Kellogg, and it will be a goal kick once again for Norman. Now we're starting to see Jenks take a few chances, fire a few shots on goal.
You're right. I think Fouts has made a difference since she's been in. She's a left-sided player, and she's made 1 or 2 nice through passes, and she's beginning to make a little bit of an impact.
Still scoreless, though. Free kick will be taken by Grace Morakal. Nice job in working it towards the middle of the field, though not able to really clear the zone like she wanted to. Here's Kellogg after the nice little sliding play made by Gaston, excuse me. It's like Gaston Green, the former UCLA running back. Throwing on the near side for Norman. Maybe at least 2 people out there got that reference. It's football, not football, my bad. Working it on the near side. Nice little play by Scott. Is she going to be able to get away from McCord? She finally drops it off. Norman clears it to the middle of the field. Knocked down there by Schmiel. She'll work against one-on-one, and a nice play. Watch out. She has some speed. Here comes Schmiel. In the middle of the field. Drops it off. Nice pass to Scott. Scott to Ramey. Ramey, Scott, wide open in the middle. Shot. Goal! Savannah Scott scores the first goal of the game. And on the assist will be Elizabeth Ramey. Norman strikes first on an outstanding individual effort by Ramey, and then putting it in the back of the net by, I believe it was Savannah Scott. Let's watch it again, Coach.
She's had 1 or 2 runs earlier on, and she just couldn't find her way through, and this time she eventually gets through, and it's an excellent goal. Catches the goalkeeper a little bit off her line. Good feed pass there by Ramey. But this is about the 3rd time she's had one of these surging runs, and I think it took a little bit of a deflection on the tackle, and that's what sent the ball up. But nevertheless, a tremendous goal for Norman, and just what the doctor ordered for them.
Savannah Scott finds the back of the net. The junior puts Norman on top 1-0 over the Jenks Trojans here with 7:19 left in the first half. What a play. That's the third time, in fact, Coach. You mentioned a couple times earlier, the third time that Savannah Scott was able to work between the Jenks defense. That time she had a great feed from Ramey to start it off, and Becky Garcia was just left standing like a statue. Here she comes again. Ramey on the far side as Norman opens something up here. Ramey, nice hustle play, though, made by the Jenks defense. Nice hustle by Esther Grinnell to get back, and it will belong to the Trojans on a goal kick. We'll take a timeout. We have our first goal of the game, and it was scored by Savannah Scott off an assist from that lady, Elizabeth Ramey. 1-0 Norman. This is the 5A state championship on Cox Communications.
You're watching high school sports on Cox Communications Channel 3 Oklahoma City, Channel 9 Tulsa. Local like no one else.
And welcome back, where the Jenks Lady Trojans with an excellent scoring opportunity. The corner kick from Rachel Fouts, though, sails over the head, and unable to control it was Lauren Harris. And they had a wonderful scoring opportunity that actually tipped off the top of the crossbar. A great save made by Megan Griffin. So we are still scoreless into the final moments, and we have a substitution. Jennifer Dry is checking in for the first time for the Norman Tigers. Here again is the near goal. Watch the save. Had to punch it out, Coach.
It's an excellent save. I mean, the ball was going away from her the whole time, and she gets her fist on it and fists it away. Excellent save.
Chris Plank, Brian Harvey, that's who you just heard from, the entire Cox crew. Glad to have you on hand tonight for the finals of the 5A State Girls Championship in soccer. Norman struck first with a goal from Savannah Scott. They lead right now 1-0, trying to maintain their momentum heading into halftime. Jenks trying to scratch the board now because with the way that Norman plays, these goals tend to come in bunches. You know how good Jenks is defensively, but this is a team now that has been on the attack ever since they found the back of the net.
I think they are a little bit vulnerable, but Jenks is a very good side. They just need to steady the ship a little bit, get in the half at 1-0, and I'm quite sure Coach will give them some good instructions at the half.
Garcia clears that one away. That had shades of the last play whenever Ramey set up the only goal so far of the first half, and the throw-in will belong to the Jenks Trojans and will be handled by McCord. That's a good look at the head coach, Mike Carney, and a solid look at the head coach in Norman, Bob Byers. Two guys that solid friends, talking with each other before the game, and you know that friendships are forgotten about once you get out on the field, though. Once you're standing on this sideline and the other guy's on the far sideline, you don't even care about them.
You don't care. That's right.
We're getting into the middle of the field, nothing home for Jenks, and it's cleared back towards the offensive zone by Christy Schmiel. On the far side, nice defensive play made Garcia to stop the break by Taryn Kaler, and the throw-in will stay with the Norman Tigers. Running out of time here in the first half are the Trojans. There's one of those that you usually have the ball boy take care of for you. All the way underneath the stands. Watch, she'll emerge. There she is. Emerging out from underneath the stands where she had to chase down the ball. So I thought they had ball boys to take care of that, Coach. Maybe that's on the next level.
Well, I should think that you would think that they should have ball boys here. You would think so. State championship.
Ramey battling on the far side near the end line, and she's not able to get the cross going. And once again, a goal kick for the Jenks Trojans.
I think the last 10 minutes of the game, we've seen Ramey come into the picture, and she's really starting to make a difference now.
Yeah, and Jenks was really playing physical with her. They were bumping her, they were grabbing her, and now it's almost as if she's worked away past some of that, and maybe the intensity on the Jenks side has dropped. Now Brady trying to get something going, a little bumping right there. Brady, nice pass to the middle to Kellogg, but broken up, and a nice job by Jennifer Dry, who just checked in. That might start a break for Cox. Cox on the near side has a break to Scott. Scott has the only goal in the game. Saves it before it goes out of bounds. One-on-one against Garcia, and she's bumped off the play. What are we going to get? Are we going to get a card? No.
I don't think so. I don't think it was really an intentional foul.
Yeah.
It was a foul, but...
Let's watch it again. Garcia battling with Scott.
Yeah, Scott got around the corner here. She's just about to push it on and get around her. And I don't think it's that much intent. Yeah. It wasn't a kick. It was more or less using her body.
So, a free kick from the near side, and Scott will take it. Or, excuse me, Christy Schmiel will take it. Lobs it towards the middle, right there, and missing it. Oh, man, that's one of those when you see the replay that many times Elizabeth Ramey finds the back of the net with that, and how she didn't. Well, I think Mike Carney will be thinking his lucky stars. Watch it.
It's a lovely free kick. It's a lovely free kick to the far post. Beats the goalkeeper, beats the defender. I bet you Elizabeth wishes she has that one back, but she did tremendously well to get into position to have a strike on goal.
Watch it again. Oh, so tight. Great work by the camera crew on both angles to get us that look. Nice job, guys. Jenks trying to work back the other way. Here's Grinnell towards the middle of the field, and nothing there for the Trojans still, and it's cleared away and out of bounds by Schmiel. And as we wind down to the final minute of the first half.
Defensively, Norman are playing still quite strong. A couple of girls getting caught offside. I think that the Jenks coach would be a little bit concerned about the number of times they're getting caught offside there.
Norman looking for the first state championship in over 5 years. The last time they won it, 1997. Pretty good start here is once again it looks like Norman's just apt to keep, well, at least in this case, Morgan McCord chasing balls off the track in order to retrieve them for teammates, and not likely that Jenks can mount an offensive threat here unless Grinnell can do something with it. Good work on the near side. Kellogg cannot, or excuse me, that's actually Brady cannot control. She loses it, and handling the throw-in will be Gina Gaston. And she'll actually hand off the duties right now to Caitlin Cox. Final 15 seconds, counting them down here in the first half, one that Norman will go to the locker room feeling pretty good about. They've played a physical half. Jenks has, Norman has as well, and the only goal we've seen on the board so far from Savannah Scott on a very athletic play in the middle of the field. We've reached halftime here on Cox Communications, and Norman looking for their first state championship in 5 years and looking to break a 3-year run for the Jenks Trojans. Lead at the half, 1-0. We'll come back with our halftime festivities, break down the first half, talk to Amy Castle, and preview the second half. You're watching the 5A State Championship on the ladies' side in soccer. Norman leading Jenks 1-0 on Cox Communications.
You're watching high school sports on Cox Communications.